On the matter of supernatural events, technologies of today often can appear to be supernatural. We have the naval technology provides UFO events. But new technology under patent by the U.S. Navy could shift the odds even further into the favor of stealth aircraft, leveraging lasers to produce plasma bursts that could trick inbound missiles into thinking they found a jet to chase that could actually be a little more than a hologram. This technology has already been used to create laser plasma balls that can transmit human speech. I'm going to be honest with you here. That sentence is as hard to wrap my head around as the writer as it is probably is for you to grasp as a reader. Talking plasma balls. Here's a video from our friends at Military Times running down this cutting-edge plasma. You can check this on your internet. Talking lasers and endless flashbangs. I don't know if it's still in there on the internet available. Other applications for this laser system include use as a non-lethal weapon, or even as a continuous flashbang grenade that could keep opponents in an area disoriented and unable to respond. So how does the Navy intend to leverage this sort of technology to make stealth aircraft even harder to hit? According to their patent, the laser system could be installed on the tail of an aircraft, and upon detection of an inbound missile could literally project an infrared signature that could be comparable to a moving fighter jet's exhaust out away from the fighter itself. Multiple systems could literally project multiple aircraft, leaving inbound missiles to go after the decoy plasma fighters instead of the actual aircraft itself. These laser-induced plasma filaments, as they're called, as researchers call them. Sorry for the interruption. These laser-induced plasma filaments, as researchers call them, can be projected up to hundreds of meters, depending on the laser system employed. And here's the part that will really blow your mind. They can be used to emit any wavelength of light. That means that these systems could effectively display infrared to fool inbound heat-seeking missiles, ultraviolet, or even visible light. Of course, it's unlikely that the system could be used to mimic the visual cues of an actual aircraft, but it is possible to produce visible barriers between the weapon operator and the stealth aircraft emitting the laser. So here is a little sketch there that's part of this patent thing. This visual target signature, IR target signature, and then the heat-seeking missile, or whatever it is, IR homing missile 210. So, image courtesy of the U.S. Patent Office. This system could be deployed instantly with it reused throughout a mission, and can stay at a desired altitude or location in midair, all things flares can't do. With enough aircraft equipped with these systems, or even systems equipped on a single aircraft, this method could be used to do far more than just project jets. In the future, this approach could become a part of a missile defense system employed by Navy ships, carrier strike groups, or even entire cities. If you have a very short pulse, you can generate a filament, and in the air that can propagate for hundreds of meters. And maybe with the next generation of lasers, you can produce a filament of even a mile. Alexandru Henning, a leading researcher on the patent, told IT Magazine in 2017. It's likely that we won't see this technology lighting up the airspace over combat zones anytime soon, as there may well be years of research and development left before it finds its way into operational use. However, some have already begun scratching their heads regarding what it appears these laser-induced plasma filaments can do, and how that could explain the unusual behavior recorded in recently acknowledged Navy footage of an unidentified aircraft being tracked on FLIR cameras by FA-18 Super Hornet pilots. It seems feasible that this technology could be used to fake just such a UFO sighting, but then the earliest of these videos was produced in 2004, which would suggest far more advanced laser systems than the United States currently maintains. And even now, what's today? Question: could lasers have been used to fake UFO sightings? It seems feasible, but for now the military's focus seems to be set squarely on defense applications for the patent. Extraterrestrials, or is man alone before God except for angels? Genesis 1:1-2:4. Chapters 1 and beginning of chapter 4. Actually, it's one entity. 1:1-2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. The context of this passage, Genesis 1:1-2:4, begins with God creating the heavens and the earth, the entire universe, and then it focuses completely on the earth. There are no other planets which are focused upon, and even mentions such that one might draw any possible conclusion that they also might have life on them. Genesis 1:31a, just take a look at the end of 1. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Then we have man being uniquely made in the image of God, with no other life forms mentioned, after God had created all the planets and other heavenly bodies, equipping each one as he saw fit. Since the Bible indicates that man, of all the life forms created, was uniquely made in the image of God, then it is not likely that God created many other life forms with his image from all over the universe. The entire scenario, therefore, focuses upon God's creating man in his image, uniquely, and then giving man dominion over the earth. And at the end, God declared that it was very good. And then God created his creation work, rested from his creation work. No other creatures were evidently created, especially any in his image, and no other planets to dwell upon either. This is all encompassing, heavens and the earth. The heavens, the whole entire universe, plus other planets that have other people on it, not there. Now in verse 4 of Genesis chapter 2, this is the account of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Notice that in Genesis 1:1-2:3 are declared in Genesis 2:4 as the account of the heavens and the earth when and how they were created. There is no mention of other planets or other life forms except those created on earth, with man uniquely made in God's image, and then God rested from his creation work, and Genesis 2:4 then indicates that Genesis chapter 1 is the account of God's work of creation. Since God rested from his creation work, with no stipulation of any other life forms except those upon the earth, we must presume that that is all there is. That's what it says. And I go by this because I can find no account that's as trustworthy as the Bible in whatever it teaches and says. So until something better comes along, this is a pretty good account of what happened. And there's only one planet that has life forms on it. That's the earth. So then at the end of the ages, there will be a new heavens and a new earth with no mention of other planets and beings which might have life forms on them. Revelation 21:1. Then I say a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I guess it's then I saw. Compare 2 Peter 3:10-13. But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything in it will be laid bare. Since everything will be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be? You ought to love holy and godly live holy and godly lives. as you look forward to the day of God and speed is coming. It's coming. That day will bring about the destruction of the heavens by fire, and the elements will melt in the heat. God's going to reform just like in the beginning. There's an amorphous amount of material. And then as the 6 days of creation go through, he's like the artist with a big huge mold of clay and forms it into perfection. But in keeping with his promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth, the home of righteousness. Notice that the heavens and earth are destroyed and a new heavens and earth created. That includes all the universe, not a few things that might have evolved later on. There is no mention of extraterrestrial life either. We have the revised and expanded answers book on creation science. For decades, speculation about extraterrestrial life has been boosted by tales of flying saucers and encounters with aliens. Some have even claimed that the sons of God and or the Nephilim of Genesis 6:4 were aliens, but they were clearly demonic angels. You can check this out here on a study I did on demons. In 1996, this was fueled from another source. NASA researchers claim to have found evidence for simple life forms in a meteorite, allegedly from Mars, found in Antarctica. Since then, this proof of life in the Mars rock has very much lost favor among the scientific community. No evidence. The supposed nanofossils were probably no more than magnetite whiskers plus artifacts of the experimental process. I did a study on life on Mars there. Okay. The Bible, the revealed Word of God, teaches that life is only possible through a process of creation. Even if there were other galaxies with planets very similar to Earth, life could only be there if the Creator had fashioned it. If God had done that, and if these beings were going to visit us one day, then he would surely not have left us unenlightened about this. God has given us rather specific details of the future, for example, the return of Jesus, and some details about the end of the world. The universe will, at some future point, be rolled up like a scroll, Isaiah 34:4 and Revelation 6:14. If God had created living beings elsewhere, this would automatically destroy them and their dwelling place as well. Adam's sin caused all of creation to be affected by the curse. So why would a race of beings not of Adam's sinful seed have their part of creation affected by the curse, and then be part of the restoration brought about by Christ, the last Adam? All of this would seem exceedingly strange. Footnote. Furthermore, Jesus dying for alien beings makes no sense, since Jesus took on human, not alien nature, and remains the God-man forever as our Savior. If he were to atone for Vulcans, say, he would need to become a Vulcan. The whole purpose of creation is focused on the race of earth, of which some will be Christ's bride throughout eternity. Christ will not have multiple brides. Unidentified flying objects. Wikipedia. Go online, Wikipedia, encyclopedia. An unidentified flying object, UFO, is only any aerial phenomenon that cannot immediately be identified or explained. Most UFOs are identified on investigation as conventional objects or phenomena like weather balloons. The term is widely used for claimed observations of extraterrestrial spacecraft. By far, most of these sightings are explicable through things like weather balloons, or especially aircraft, or something on the horizon. Often the sun does some phenomenal things. We have pictures of this below, where a ship is seen beyond the horizon as reflected in the clouds above. It's just